Baby, where is the remote?
Remote?
Yes.
Arsenal.
What do you mean by Arsenal?
On top of the table.
Yo, big up the community. Welcome to King's Football Show. We are running the agenda. As long as we are on top of the league, we're running the agenda. But today, I got some very, very special guests with me. And finally, we've been able to book the man himself, the legend, Rich. How you doing, broski?
You're really doing that. Oh my days. It was funny though. It was funny. So.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny.
Listen, no, I'm glad to be able to make it. That there's no clashes in scheduling and stuff. So no, I appreciate you inviting me.
Ah, man. Thanks for joining. On obviously, we got my light screen brother, my co-host, Mr. Tyreek himself. How you doing? How you doing? Top of the league, man.
I'm all good, man. I'm all good. But big up yourself though for booking Rich, man. You know it's so hard to get in touch with this guy.
Bro, I feel special, honestly. I told him I might just go.
So why are you such a stirrer? You're acting like I'm not here, like I don't pick up the phone.
Yeah. Do you know what I feel like? Since he did his thing with Cecil, it's been harder and harder to book him.
Give me full screen. Give me full screen. Nah, listen, when you got a family and it's 6 weeks holidays, you spend most of your time out with the girls. Even tonight, I'm out with Steph, and we're meant to do the Brentford reaction. I'm probably going to miss it.
Oh, man.
Nah, it ain't easy. It ain't easy to
Not
get
easy,
celebrities on your stream, but we are glad to have you here, man.
I'm not a celebrity.
But how is everyone feeling? You both good?
No, I'm not good, man.
Yeah. Let's talk about Crystal Palace first. Let's talk about Wilf. What did you make of that interview?
I loved it. I loved it. He's probably going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Maybe a light fine or something like that.
Yeah.
But it needed to be said because honestly, being there at the stadium, PV made the double change, bringing off Elise and it was Eze and Schlupp at the time he brought off, and brought on Jordan and Luca. And I was standing there thinking, what's our formation? And I think we went 4-4-2 for a period of time. Then Elise came off for Mitchell. And then we went 5 at the back. And this was with 15, 20 minutes ago. All you're doing is inviting pressure. Vieira,
it was weird.
Yes, it was a defensive error in leaving a man free in the middle of the box. I get that. But before that, like I said, when you invite pressure busts pipes. This one is on PV. And I'm annoyed because I'm not saying we played great, but had we just stuck to our 4-3-3, I think we would have seen it out, personally. So
yeah, I mean, I watched the game on TV and I felt like it wasn't looking like Brentford was going to score until he made those changes. So it was weird for me. It wasn't like they were peppering you and you were desperate and you just needed to make changes. And I feel like if there's one thing Pee Wee needs to improve in his management is to become more brave. Because I felt like last season there were a lot of games where you should have won, but you didn't. It was either a draw or ending up in a loss. So
yeah.
I hope that he will improve on that because I do like Patrick Vieira, obviously, as an Arsenal legend and former Arsenal captain, and Crystal Palace. I want to see him do well there. Honestly, we need more brothers in management, so he's kind of representing all of us now.
Look, at the end of the day, first half, it was a dead rubber. Both teams, I think, were poor. I think they kept the ball well for the first 20. We then got into it and had a few moments, but nothing clear cut. Second half, we were on top completely. Literally, Brentford just camped in their box. We got the goal deservedly. Deservedly based on the run of play, not that we were creating multiple chances. I know Elisa hit the post beforehand as well and stuff. And then it just went all defensive. And this is why I'm happy why Wolf came out and said this, because I'm hoping he went and said this to Vieira as well. we're good enough now. We're
Yeah.
good enough to go and get 2-3 goals against teams like Brentford. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Brentford are a bad side,
Yeah.
but they didn't really show ambition until we lacked ambition. And then you know
Yeah.
what? Can I say after we made those changes, Brentford should have won the game.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I hear that. I hear that. For me, it was unnecessary. Yeah, like and you got quality attacking players. I mean, he needs to make more of that. For me, like Wilf is in his prime right now. I've never seen him be better. He's no longer just a showman. He's actually being effective. He's scoring goals. He's getting into dangerous positions, and you can tell by his mentality that he wants to drag Crystal Palace to Europe. I think it's a big aim of him to play in
Yeah,
Europe with Crystal Palace if he's staying. So you won't get a player like Wilf often. He's a special talent, and I would take him at Arsenal. I think he's a baller. Like I think he would improve us, and I know a lot of people say would he even start? 100%. He's starting either ahead of Martinelli or Saka, but he's starting. And he could even play centre forward. So I would
yeah.
100% take him at Arsenal.
On that note, the way
Yeah,
that things are going with our forwards, I
yeah,
won't be surprised if we end up getting Ismaili Sarr, which is
yeah.
rumored. I don't know how likely it is. If we get Sarr, I will put money that Wilf becomes our centre forward. I don't think Vieira trusts Edward or Mateta.
No, Mateta was a weird one for me because I've never really rated him. He's okay, but he's never going to really bang. I feel like the way you want to play in transition and the creative players and flair players you have, he doesn't really fit in because he's
Yeah,
not even like Oliver Giroud, yeah. He was not the fastest player, but his first touch was so good
yeah,
that he could play with flair players. But I don't get that vibe with Mateta. I don't know if you agree, but for me, I think you can do better than him.
yeah. It's so difficult because obviously both Mateta and Edward, they have different qualities which can work in different ways. And I think
Yeah,
that's why Vieira's kind of been changing the starting lineups. So like against City, start with Edouard because he's more likely to hold the ball up better, and we need that kind of respite. Whereas Mateta started last night because it's going to be kind of more of a physical game with the likes of Ben Mee in defence and so on and so forth. But it's what I think it's just disappointing the manner in which we allowed them to get back into the game. I don't think if it ended a draw like on the night, on any other circumstances, I don't think anyone would have complained because it's a fair result. I don't think any team deserved to win, to be honest. But like I said, it's just the manner which is frustrated. 88th minute, that's another goal conceded near the death because of our mentality. And that's why I said big up to Wolf, man, for coming out and saying, why are we defending? Why
yeah,
are we doing it?
yeah,
On national TV as well. I'm so
yeah,
glad he did
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Because
But
we need to be bolder. We have to be bolder in future.
he's a winner, Wilf. He wants to win, and he's annoyed, and that's what you want to see. You want to
Yeah.
see your players be emotional. You want to see them get angry and annoyed when you don't win. You don't want them to be like, "Oh, we got a draw." Brentford is a tough team. Like you want to see that. So big up Wilf again, and if you see this, Wilf, come and join us over here in North London. We need you. But tomorrow is deadline day. What do you make of Crystal Palace transfer window, and do you think you guys will get any players in? And do you have any holes that you feel like you need to adjust?
Let's start with the holes. We need a centre midfielder.
Yeah,
We need a left back
yeah.
because Mitchell's fitness is touch and go. I mean, Coventry ended our youngster Teo his loan like within like I think it's like 3-4 weeks.
Oh,
Yeah, so I mean, I'll take him as cover left back because he's a decent player. We
yeah,
just need a left-footed left back. Ward played well yesterday, but you can't really attack quickly if you're coming in back inside on your right foot. You know, you
Yeah.
need to be passing the ball up the line quicker. So I'll say left back,
Hmm.
centre mid.
Yeah.
Beforehand, yeah, I would have said right back. But Klein and Ward have been playing well. So maybe
Yeah.
we can hold out. I think we might need a centre forward. It
Yeah.
sounds mad. It
Yeah, I
sounds
know, I
mad,
know,
but
I know, I know.
we need someone that's going to get us 10 to 15 goals.
Yeah. You could have done with Broja and Gallagher in your team.
So, and now that goes into the Wolf situation. If he was going to go Chelsea,
Yeah.
then that would be sort of the deal. Like, get Gallagher back, even if it's Gallagher on loan and Broja signed,
Yeah.
or something along those lines to get the two. Then I'd
Yeah.
have said, all right, you know, at least we're planning ahead, sort of thing. So, yeah, just got to wait and see. Regarding players, I'm hearing that Gallagher's off anyway. And
Are you
because of the price.
surprised?
I'm not, because of the fee.
Or are they demanding a lot of money, Chelsea?
Yeah, I think we bid 27 million and they rejected it. And yeah, I wouldn't want us to be paying anything more than
I think he'll
that
be your
anyway.
player next season. I think long term he won't stay long at Chelsea because
Yeah,
I think they obviously have ambitions to get back to the top and challenge for the league and play
absolutely.
in the Champions League every season with the new ownership.
Yeah.
So I can
Other
see them
than
next
that,
season.
but I am worried. I'm
Yeah,
very worried because if we don't get anyone in,
yeah,
I think we're going to have a very difficult season. That whole 9th to 12th optimism will go down the window because we're just lacking depth. And the teams around us are getting depth. You know,
yeah.
we had to bring on Luca on again. Luca, like, we shouldn't have to be bringing these sort of players back on. You know, but we'll just wait and see. We'll wait and see.
But whose fault is that? Is it the owners? Is it the manager? Is it a combination?
I think it's the owners. So basically, we've got Parish, but then we've got Techstar, who owns 3 other clubs.
Yeah,
And then we've got not Parish, Harris and Blitzer. And I don't think Harris and Blitzer, they don't really invest. Like, we're
yeah,
hoping that they go and then Texter can buy their share.
yeah,
So that at least then he can then kind of like have a main stake. Because Vieira's come out on I think about 3 or 4 times this window and say we need more players. Vieira wants about 3 players in.
wow, yeah,
You
yeah,
know, so if we don't get them in, he's not going to be happy, and because he's
no,
going to leave us light. He's going to leave
yeah,
us very
yeah.
light, and that's not good.
No, it's not good. And I understand him because there's so much pressure on managers these days with so much attention on every Premier League club, and we've already seen, you know, Bournemouth sacked their manager, Scott Parker. Even though the media doesn't talk about it, but Steven Gerrard is under a lot of pressure. Like, I don't think he will last long.
Call me crazy.
Yeah,
I think if you beat them quite heavily, I think it'll
yeah,
go. If it's like a
yeah,
3-4-0, I think
yeah,
it might be it for him. You know.
yeah. And I think they face Man City after us as well, or something like that. So it's not looking good, bro. It's not looking good. But let me just quickly go through the chat and let's see. We got G Staffy in the building. She says hello. You said, geez, now this is the definition of a dream team right here. Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Big up Ed as well, always tuning in, supporting. He's saying, look at this lineup. It looks like the Man United boys are going to bottle it, like Man United are going to bottle it on Sunday. But let's see if they actually turn up
That's a
later on.
huge game, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, we'll get into that game soon. Each one is a real up and coming streamer and YouTuber, man. Thank you, Ed. And so are you, man. I see the work you put in. I'm gonna try and see if I can get you before the deadline transfer is over and recruit you from Tariq, but it's gonna be hard. He's
What
demanding a lot of money.
are you saying? Add-ons.
You see, here he is. Here he is.
Say what
Yo,
now?
T. No, I was telling,
Wait,
I'm
King,
gonna
you
put
know
in a
what?
cheeky bid tomorrow and trying to get Ed.
Listen, after T gave Ed a gummy bear, like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
you might
you
hand
know.
in a
Relationship's
you
not as,
might hand,
not as
yeah, you
strong
might
as
hand
it.
in that transfer request.
Mm.
Listen, Ed, we want you over here, man. If you're ready to join us, just
But
just
just
holler
like
at me
Zaha says, over at Tariq Talks, we understand him. Do you know what I mean?
and
Like that's what it is.
It's a family. It's a family.
Yeah, family. Yeah. I like that. Rich. I like that.
big up Solar as well. Good evening, gentlemen. Pele was very unlucky last night, and Ed is also saying big up Eagle Eye Football. I've never cared so much about Palace before meeting Rich and the boys. Yeah,
Oh,
I hear that. I hear
I
that.
heard.
You guys are doing things honestly. Like it's and Crystal Palace need a platform on YouTube, and you guys are smashing it honestly. And you're just gonna grow bigger and bigger and bigger.
Appreciate
I see that. And big up David. He's saying you need Aaron Van Bissaka, Rich.
I'll take
Looks
him
like
on
yeah,
loan
yeah.
or for 10 million. That's it.
Would you start him right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Over Klein, would you?
Yeah. I
Interesting.
just think he's just defensively more stable, I'd say. Don't get me wrong, Klein's been brilliant. He's actually been really good for us, but he is 31, 32
Yeah.
and stuff. And the wingers that the Premier League have now are just mad. So,
Yeah.
so just for that security, because Mitchell's kind of got the left back's place. He's got that locked.
Yeah.
But how about Chris Richards though? I know he didn't have a great game coming off the bench against Man
He's
City.
gonna take time.
Yeah.
The one thing Vieira doesn't do is rush players.
We saw that. Yeah,
That's
we've
what he's
seen
done
that
well.
with Elise last season. Didn't just chuck him in.
Just chuck him in. So it'll take time, and we'll just wait and see really.
Yeah. T, moving on to Arsenal. You know, we've seen a lot of rumors on Twitter. Do you think Arsenal will get a body in before deadline day, or do you think it's just rumors as usual?
Do I think we will get one in? No, I don't think we will, which is disappointing. Yes, because I've always said like throughout this window that I wanted 2 more players. I wanted a central midfielder, at least 2 more players. I actually said 3 or 4 at one point, and that was like after we signed Zinchenko. But then I started to realise, okay, Benjamin White can we cover at right back, so that works there, and then that Zinchenko could possibly fill out one of the midfield options if we needed so. So I've always thought a midfielder and a winger. Midfielder is the priority. And of course, that's kind of come to fruition now that Thomas Partey's picked up a new injury and Mohamed El-Nene's picked up a serious one, a significant one that David Ornstein said. So that one, I think everyone in the fan base has kind of realised that's a priority. I just don't see Arsenal panicking though, King. I just don't see us making that decision to go and you know what? Let's just try and find someone now. Plan C, Plan D option. I think Arsenal. We've seen it in January that we're not going to panic, even when it seems necessary. Because you know, if we would have got a striker, possibly we would have got 4th. But the long-term plan and vision is always at the forefront. At some stage, they will have to make that decision to say, right, we need something in the short term because that's how you're going to get success, right? You need to have a balance. I just think, though, within the last few days of the window, when you're looking at Danilo, the boring side of things in terms of work permits, thank you, Brexit, those things is going to be an issue to get players outside of that aren't playing in the Premier League or who aren't a top player who's playing for the top 10 national sides. I've learned this through one of my friends who's an agent, you see, and he sent me a list of like the criteria. If you're not playing for a top 10 nation, which is like, you know, your Spain's, your France's, etc., if you're not playing, if you don't hit a certain amount of criteria, it's really hard to get a work permit, and it can take up weeks to get those things sorted. So I just don't think we're going to get the likes of Danilo, unfortunately, unless they've already been working on it in the background.
That's a good
let
point
me
on
quickly
work
just
permit, actually. So, because Justin Kluivert, I think he was going to move
Yeah,
He got rejected a work permit.
which is
Let
crazy.
me just
because-
quickly bring in the golden twin himself. We got CM in the building. Big up.
Big
Don't
up,
face
big
no
up,
goals.
man. Apologies for the lateness. I had to do with something real quick.
It's
Well,
Cappy's fault, innit?
at least you turned up. A certain uncle decided to bottle it. So
Everyone put in the chat
Oh,
hashtag
man.
realist out.
Hang on, that sounds like
Yeah,
Cappy to me. Listen, are you sure this is CM?
It's definitely Cappy.
Hey, the Cappy ain't around here, man.
That's something Cappy would say.
Big up to you guys, though. Hope
What
you guys
saying,
are
C?
blessed.
You good, bro?
Blessed. Yes,
You
sir. Very
Nice,
good.
nice.
Thank you.
But T, would you say it's kind of a failure if Arsenal don't get anyone in terms of before the transfer window open? Edu and Arteta said that there was a plan, and we've seen that they've made bids on Rafinha and they've made inquiries about Neto. So they've obviously identified that they need a winger, and for a very long time they've been spoken to Tillemans, and they've also made inquiries about Danilo. So you would almost make assumptions that they've identified that they need a CM and a winger. But if we don't get that in, should we see it as a failure and criticize them, or where's your head at?
I think, yeah, you are well within your right to have criticism of it. And yeah, because we as fans, we know that central midfielder position was always a priority. And it has been for quite a few seasons now. And mainly since Thomas Partey, we recognise that Thomas Partey wasn't going to be fit and he's not going to play. He's played like 55% of Arsenal's games, which is what I heard earlier. And that's not enough for someone in that position. Like, look at Manchester City with Rodri. He plays almost every game, misses the odd one or two. That's a part of his spine. Like Rich at Eagle Eye Football, they're going to be looking at Crystal Palace. They're going to be looking at Chet Decore to be that mainstay in that midfield. Are you going to build your team around that?
Listen, I'm saying this now, I don't care that Partey's gone in, but Decore's better.
But Decore is really good. I liked him yesterday as well. Always passes forward, which is what Partey does, which is why we miss Partey when he doesn't play. And it's hard to find those players, King. So I can't say it's an outright failure because we have built in other areas of the pitch, and we have got depth now in that left set. We've got depth at the back now. We've got left back depth. We've got a striker in Jesus who is certainly better than the level that, you know, if you look at Arsenal on the CV right now, we've got Europa League football and he's a Champions League striker. So we have overachieved in that aspect to get him. But it's just so hard to have a plan though, King, because like you can only plan to a certain extent. And then Man United will spend 55 or however much million on Martinez, who was a part of the plan. And then United will go and spend 100 million on Anthony, which caused disproportion in the market. And then Chelsea were going to spend this much. Like, you can only plan to a certain extent, but in the transfer market, it's not just between you and the negotiating club, unfortunately. And yeah, it's one of them ones. I will be disappointed though, and I don't think we will get one. So yeah, and you can only really judge it's a failure once the end of the season, because you know people were saying Tottenham have won the transfer window, and then you've noticed that he hasn't really played anyone. But then there's still a whole season to go, and we still don't know how that's going to play out. So yeah, there's a slight disappointment in there.
So last thing on that topic, we've seen Aston Villa sign Kamara from Marseille on a free, who plays in that role and who's young and who would probably come to Arsenal even if he's second fiddle because of this stature of the club. And we've also seen Decore. How much did Decore cost you?
25.
25 million.
Another
guy.
That's with add-ons. It's initial 18 million. Okay.
18 so
million.
18 million with add-ons, and we know that Arsenal love those kind of deals. Another quality kind of player who could have played in that role and cover for Partey and even play with Partey, and you can have Partey play in that box-to-box role. So
Partey Decore too.
We've
I don't even think
seen
they'll play together, but that would still work. That would still be amazing. Yeah.
we've seen players come to the Premier League. So again, are we being too nice to them? Because we've seen options join the league that we could have signed and
Mm.
probably would have happily signed for Arsenal. Young, sell on value, potential.
Yeah, I think you are right, especially Decore, because that's the one that we've been linked with as well. Before Palace actually snapped him up, and apparently that was also one of the things that made it drawn out because Palace have maintained their interest in Decore for a long time, even before the season last season ended. That's when it first initially came out. So we have seen players. So you do have to criticize and you do have to say, right, if there was a plan, surely that the likes of Decore was on top of it. But once again, King, on the other hand, on the other side of the argument, I'm not saying I totally believe this just to play devil's advocate. What if they have faith in Lokonga to become that defensive midfielder in there? We don't know. We've seen him playing an 8 position in pre-season, but that's pre-season. That's all testing out. That might not be where Arteta sees him, especially if we do get a Tielemans or if he does decide to move Smith Rowe into an 8 position as well, because that just makes it even harder for Lokonga. So possibly that might work out. I'm not saying it will, but then that's where you can really give it a true reflection and judgment once in January at the earliest, but at the end of the season at the latest, I'd say.
Okay, interesting. CM, moving on to Man United. What do you make of Man United's transfer window? Are you happy with the players in? Have you guys overpaid? Is it PR? Where you at?
Okay, so I think for a lot of people, there's a conflict of interest because before the window, a lot of fans were rather negative, saying, they didn't think they were going to get probably more than 3 signings in. And we've ended up getting, 5 or 6 signings with Dubravka. So in a lot of people's eyes, that is a positive thing. And of course, if you look at the signings of face value, Casemiro, Anthony, getting Christian Eriksen on a free, Malacia, you can say a lot of those guys are positive signings on face value who may or may not work out given the time and the situation and the context, of course. I think, and I said it on Redis United's channel over before, Anthony, that's definitely an overpay due to the fact that we could have got him for cheaper if we did operate sooner rather than later in a transfer window. And that was more so a situation even with the Casemiro signing where a lot of pressure was onto the board at that current moment of time because the fans have given the newly appointed board members who are responsible for the transfers time at the start of the window. A lot of people started to get onto them sooner, but then even sort of mass audience came together and started putting pressure on the board, putting pressure on the ownership. So it was one of them ones. What are you eating there, big man?
Is that some jack chicken over there to you? No, y'all guys are doing my guy dirty, man.
You know what it is? He's hiding to show he's not biting.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny.
He comes up and like,
just turn the camera off.
No, it's not showing that I'm not biting. People just don't want to see me put food in my mouth, and it.
Nah, Rich, you evil. You're evil, honestly. How you doing, my man, like that?
Oh,
Wow.
it was for his earlier comment.
No, that's funny. But yeah. Sorry, CM, for interrupting you. Go on.
It's calm, but it was a situation where all of the pressure started to mount on the ownership and the board, and obviously the news of Sir Jim Radcliffe and also Michael Knighton trying to put together a consortium to do a hostile bid for Manchester United. That's when all the fans, all of a sudden, there's a little buzz in there because you're like, hold on a second, this is something to do with somebody wanting to take over the ownership. And with the negativity of the transfer window added onto that, I think the Glazers had to act in the transfer window. Whereas I don't think I think they weren't really bothered about getting certain players in. I mean, we spent how many months on Frankie de Jong just to not get him at the end of the transfer window unless something spectacular happens. Obviously, we did get Malacia, etc. But then you see guys like Casemiro and Anthony coming to the club, whereas we were linked with guys like Marco Arnautovic as a backup striker and Adrian Rabiot as a midfielder. So there was a dramatic turnaround in that respect, which to me only seems like like you said, a PR move, a move to almost once again manipulate the fan base. Because obviously, if you sign guys like Anthony, we're gonna be happy. Sign Casemiro, he's still one of the best CDMs in the world, so we're gonna be happy. But at the same time, that's where the conflict of interest comes from. Because hold on a second, we're complaining about the Glazers, especially from the outside looking in, but then we're getting signings. So it's like, from the outside looking in, it's easy to say, why the hell are you complaining as a Manchester United fan? But with all of the context of the past 17 years of ownership, with all of the... nah. Oh, no.
So breaking news, guys, the starting 11 for Arsenal versus Villa is out. And we got Ramsdale in goal, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tierney, and we got Sambi Lukonga getting his first start with Granit Xhaka, and then is Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, and Jesus. Make of that what you want. And Villa's team is Martinez, Matthew Cash, Konsa, Mings, Digne, Camara, McGinn, Ramsey, Bailey, Buendia, Watkins. So no Coutinho. He's on the bench. Interesting.
Wait, Son's been dropped.
Who?
Son for Spurs.
Oh. Yeah, let's run all the starting 11s. Yeah, he didn't look good and he looked very, very unhappy. I just need to see if Haaland is starting because he's my captain.
He's starting.
Yes. Good guy. So Man City starting 11, we got Edison in goal, Kyle Walker, John Stones, Ruben Diaz, João Cancelo, Bernardo Silva, Rodri, Gundogan. I got Gundogan as well. It's looking good. Phil Foden, Erling Haaland, Julian Alvarez. No KDB, you mean? Yeah, interesting.
Anyone can get it, man. Pet roulette.
Tariq, I kept Salah in.
Yeah.
Yes, my brother.
However, I swapped Saha for Odegaard.
Oh.
Saha scored. I was 50-50 as whether he was playing.
Yeah.
I hear that.
I hear that.
I was like,
scored though. You know what? You're hurting Moss more than you're hurting me there. So
yeah.
So Odegaard just needs to match Saha's when they score.
Yeah.
Just one goal.
I wouldn't be angry with that. As long as Martinelli and Jesus outscore him, I'm all right.
If Salah bang,
yeah.
Remember that, Rich.
Now it's only because of the Saha injury. That's why. That's the only reason.
Keep Salah, man. Salah, trust in Salah.
Wow. Yeah. So Sambi Lukonga starts for Arsenal, Tariq. Are you happy? Was it expected?
I mean, it's kind of like I saw the news anyway. Nah, I just thought it was going to be Sambi, and I'm happy with that because I want to see Sambi now take it to the next level. He struggled in that single pivot at times last season, but any midfielder in their first season in the Prem, it's going to be an adaptation period, and it's going to take at least a season for them to really get their feet on the ground and trying to build some consistency. That's why when talking about Decore again, he's had a good start. But do you know when we hit a busy period at some point in the season? I do expect it to go a bit left, and then if you what, and other fans will probably start saying, "Oh, is he that good? This and that." But he's a young player, man, and that's why I always give young players grace, especially in midfield. So it's going to be interesting. We definitely do need to see an increase in his level, but today is going to be a big test. If he performs well today, you might be playing in that position at a certain stadium, which CM's representing there.
Yeah. So as outsiders, I'll start with you, Rich. how do you look at Man United? Do you understand the frustration for the fans, or do you just see they're ungrateful? What's your view as someone who doesn't have any emotional attachment to the club?
I totally understand in the sense of how the Glazers run the club. On the flip side, I know they spent money, but I guess they spent money just to kind of silence the fans, as opposed to spend with a plan, leading to success. The craziest thing with the Glazers is that I don't understand, as someone who called themselves businessmen, they don't understand that the biggest income is success. You keep winning, you win trophies and stuff. That's where your income comes. So obviously, like they've put the club in further depth than it was before. They're taking money out of the club as well. And it's kind of papering over the cracks, just the way that they're splashing cash at the moment. However, I must say, the signings that have been made this season are a massive improvement on what they've done in the past and stuff. Yes, the fees are stupid. But if you spent nearly 200 something plus million in it, see him.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Probably more 300 because
they
spent 100, almost 100 on Anthony, almost 60 on Martinez,
so
and then
close to 300. But the caliber of players better. You look at Malacia, he looks really good.
Yeah.
You look at Casemiro.
Yeah.
Say no more there. Anthony's technically good. Obviously, he's going to have to adapt to the league. Ericsson, baller. So compared to like back then, Maguire's, Wan-Bissaka's, you know what I mean? So there's been an improvement and such. So I guess, for the sake of football, and even though I'm not a United fan, I can co-sign that hashtag Glazers out, because I think they're just ruining football.
I hear that.
Unbiased sort of view, it's similar to the Cronkies. I mean, I think they're doing a bit better than they were, but they were at that stage as well where they were like, it's just these American owners have no concept of the English Premier League, and they're more focused on success in their own country with their NFL teams and so on and so forth. So,
yeah. I mean, the thing with the Kroenkes for me is like, I used to hate him. I'm not even gonna cap. I used to be on that Kroenke outing, all of that. But then obviously, you get older, you mature, you understand business better, and since they've bought the whole club and owned it, their ownership and the structure of the club have changed to the positive. And for me, it wasn't always about the way or the money we spend. It was more about the kind of players we bought, the structure of the club, who was in charge, like letting Wenger deciding if we're gonna deal with super agents or not, and that got to the detriment of the club. Having someone like Raul Sanyehe wasn't good for the club. Employing Mislintat only to sack him a few months later. Like there was so many things that was bad at Arsenal Football Club, and for me that annoyed me more than how much money you spend, because I do think that if you have a good structure, you don't even have to have ambitious owners. You can still do well, and we've seen that with Liverpool. So for me, with these Americans, they are never gonna be like the Middle East owners. Like they have different mentalities and different kind of money. So if they're gonna own the club and if they're gonna be there, at least do your best to make sure your club becomes the best club they can be. And for me, that's where the Glazers have done so badly, because they've just looked at how can we get people in who will sell us shirts and increase the revenues and get us good sponsor deals, instead of how can we improve the team so much that they will become so successful. So regardless, we will sell shirts. Regardless, we will make money because we're winning trophies and we're finishing higher in the league. So I hear that. I mean, for me, I grew up and Man United and Arsenal was the game I look forward to every season. For me, it was bigger than El Clasico. I loved it more than El Clasico. And where both teams have been the past few years, it's kind of been depressing as a football fan, even taking out the emotions as an Arsenal fan. But looking at where the clubs are now, I do feel like Arsenal are on the up. I don't know if we will ever get to the top, but I do feel like we're going in a better direction. Only time can tell if it is the right direction, but it's a better direction. And I feel like maybe now with Eric Ten Hag at United, identifying players that can play his style of football, we have seen something a bit different. But then again, you do get flashback where at some point they were still trying to get Rabiot, they were still trying to get Arnautovic, you know, and you ask yourself why. And if the fans are not putting pressure to the club and the owners, would they still go and spend the money they've spent? And if not, how long is it sustainable? And what happens the day Eric Ten Hag leaves? Are they going backwards? Like, there's still a lot of questions on the Glazers and what's going to happen with Man United in the future. But I think at least right now for the shorter term, I feel like you are better this season than where you were under Ole and Ralph, if
You,
that's fair to say.
you know one thing I'll say which for me best sums it up. In terms of this ownership, they lack the correct level of ambition in the footballing department. The ambition that they have when it comes to marketing, making money, making profits every year based on their ownership of the club is on point because they've shown that they can do that. But as a football owner, you have a obligation almost and a responsibility to make sure that every single part of that footballing area, whether it be the youth teams, the senior teams, the women's teams that are coming up now as well, they have the facilities to be able to do the basics that they need to do in order to, whether it be with the youth teams, improve and help them grow, whether it be the senior teams, allow them to play in an area that first and foremost is adequate for the quality of team that they are and the ambitions that they have, whether it be the training facilities, improving on the stadium as well, the match day fans' experiences. Those are all responsibilities as an owner that you should have, and they have not shown the care. Hey, Lord have mercy. They haven't shown the care in things there.
Why is she doing you dirty like that, man? You spitting
Oh,
facts
man.
that she says she don't understand.
Yeah.
It sums it up. Sums it up perfectly.
Yeah, that's United for you. But we
Yeah.
got a comment here from Bobby. Big up Bobby. He got more names on YouTube than Tottenham got trophies. He's saying the biggest problem with United, the way they treat it is like a rental. They buy for who the manager is and not for the club. It will always be a short-term thing, depending on how long this manager lasts. And yeah, I hear that. I hear that. And David Lee is saying they've wasted $1 billion on some rubbish players. Maguire, Dan
Do you know?
James.
Do you know what though? It
Yeah.
does a lot of it does go back to where how the Premier League has what and the entity it's become. Because before, owners just used to be essentially custodians. So by that meaning that they just used to be a placeholder who makes decisions for the club, whilst it's the fans who the club actually belongs to. But with the amount of money and with how the Premier League has marketed itself as well and what it's allowed to do and allowing these owners to buy these football clubs, milk money out of it, make money, and take it to the billions that it's worth today. The Glazers did that, and it was even since day one. There was Glazers outs from then because of how they bought the club. Of course, everybody knows that now. They leveraged debt to buy the club, and look what they've done. And that's how they've maintained their ownership. And that's where it's the issue that we've had within the Premier League. Yes, it's a give and take because we've got the best players in the world. We've got the best managers in the world in this league. We've literally got the best competition in terms of quality and competitiveness combined. That's all, like, nobody else can say differently, whether what you believe, that is true. But with that, we've also attracted the wrong people. Just like how, from top to bottom, though, CM and Man United fans, you've had the wrong people at the top. We've also had the wrong players coming in for the exactly wrong reasons. That's where the questions are there for Casemiro. What's his actual ambition and desire? And we've had it from previously with Sanchez, Di Maria, even Schweinsteiger, etc. All these players coming in, there's plentiful. So it all comes back. Remember, the club, the culture comes from the top to bottom. It doesn't matter who you are. Bruno Fernandes, like we just saw Bruno Fernandes when he first came in, he was killing it, like in terms of goals and assists and output. But then it tailed off, and you can't really just blame Bruno for that. When it's like, I always bring it back to like work and real life and things that we can relate to. If you're in a job, right? If you've got a job now, so let's say rich school teaching. If you're out there working hard, doing these extracurricular, and you're smashing these targets, but then your headmaster, your boss is telling you, right, yeah, it don't really matter what targets you achieve. Like, I'm just you, and there's people here just collecting a paycheck, and they're not doing their job. You're automatic. No matter who you are from within, you're either going to want to get out of there, or you're going to go, right, I don't need to do anywhere near as much. It's working culture. People forget that this is a job for these people, for these footballers. Yes, they're doing something that they love, but they're not going to... Like, I was hearing stories when Ali was there, that there was drinking in midweek. Like this is Tuesday club stuff that used to happen at Arsenal, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Yeah, people. That's what we just need from. That's why the CM and United fans need to say, you need to go. Because that's not what your focus is. Your focus is on selling shirts.
Yeah, I hear that. We got another statement from Bobby. He's saying with KSC, they buy for the club's philosophy and how they want to play. They have a plan, and the plan would continue even if Mikel Arteta or Edu leaves. And yeah, I can see that. We ran a poll as well. Who's winning this classical battle on Sunday between Man United, Arsenal? So 57% have voted Man United in favor, 35% have voted for Arsenal, 7% have voted for a draw. What's your take on it, Rich? Who do you think will win, or will it be a draw?
If you have any injury concerns after today, it tips the scale towards United just because of squad strength. I don't think Sambi Lokonga's who you'd want in the middle of the park in this sort of game. Not saying that he's not a good player or could turn out to be a good player, but I think it was at Old Trafford last season, he had a nightmare. I could be wrong. It might have been another game.
Anfield.
Oh, okay, sorry. He had a tough time. But Liverpool are a different animal, like, so this is all hypotheticals here. You're very good. Your starting 11 is pretty decent. It's thereafter, which is your worry, And oddly enough, now that United's made a few signings, their bench is pretty decent. It's actually what it's meant to be. Like, those squad players are now becoming squad players and not starters, So, yeah, I'll tip it in United's favour for the meantime, but I'll wait and see how fitness-wise you come out of today's game.
Fair play. What about you, CM? What's your early predictions?
You know what? Based off of how we performed at Anfield against Anfield, it was at United against Liverpool. Yeah. You can see Manchester United possibly getting a result in there. But at the same time, obviously, Arsenal, they're in a good run of form. Optimism is high within the group, and they want to keep that going. And I think for Arsenal, maybe even more so for Arsenal, it's a more important game for them, because whether Manchester United are good or not, you always want to go up against them and beat them as Arsenal. So I would say right now Arsenal are favourites, but don't be surprised if Manchester United turn up with a performance of the ages and find a way to win.
Yeah. What about you, T? Where's your head at?
I spoke to you on the phone before this, and I'm not confident. I wouldn't even say that Arsenal are the favourites. I mean, we're the better side going into the game, but with how with our record at Old Trafford, we were the better side last season. We still lost to you at Old Trafford, and you were worse then than you are now. I think we're better as a team now, but there's this there's an actual structure at the moment, and I also was saying this. I can't remember us saying this, but how I think the game is going to go as well is Arsenal are going to dominate possession, and United are going to hit the counter attack. It's all about what Arsenal can do in that first 20 minutes for me. I think we are going to dominate possession. Ten Hag doesn't have that ingrained yet in his side, where that's going to take a long time to dominate possession for long periods of game. Me and King can say that as an Arsenal fan. We only really saw that towards the second half of last season, in Arteta's time at the club, and that's been what he's trying to build in his first season. Very much counter attack. That's how we won the FA Cup. So I can see you guys even doing that. And taking, and that's how you beat Liverpool. So you're going to follow that similar strategy. But that midfield, man, I'm worried. Even if we do get a signing in before the window, if it's, let's say we get Danilo, who we've been linked with, I'm not sure how close or what that is, but let's say he's the one right now. He's going to be traveling from South America. He's definitely not going to start that game. He might not even be registered in time for that one. So I do think it's going to be the same of Sambi Lokonga. I don't think Thomas Partey is going to be fit. Looks like a couple weeks out or something like that. If we had Thomas Partey fit, I'd be a lot more confident. But I know how important he is into that midfield, especially away from home. I know he wasn't great last season when we played there, but when we saw a fully fit Thomas Partey who's focused, whatever other external factors was impacting on his performance, we saw how much better Arsenal were and how much more control we could have away from home. So I'm not confident right now, but we'll have to wait and see. Things, even if United lose to Leicester tomorrow, I don't think that really makes much of a difference for a one-off game against Arsenal.
Yeah, just quickly before I say my thoughts on the game, Rich gave us fake news. Son is starting. You can see it here on Tottenham's Twitter page. So it's doing me dirty.
I need
like
to suck up
coming on my stream and giving out false news.
Sofa scores changed it. They had Richarlison starting. Pagans.
So Kane, Son, Kulusevski, Bissouma gets his first start with Højbjerg. Perisic starts again, and so does Emerson Royal, and it's the same back three with Sanchez, Dyer, and Davis.
I've been impressed with Højbjerg.
Starting. Yeah, Højbjerg's been good. It's been good. But for me,
what was you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say that for me, the fact that Man United are playing on Thursday and the game is on Sunday, they only have 2 days rest. I think that's in favor for Arsenal. I do think that in my head tells me it's gonna be a draw, just for the fact that Zinchenko is not on the bench. If he starts against Man United, I'll be more positive, because I do feel like Arsenal need a statement victory where we need to beat one of the so-called big six teams, because we've beaten what is in front of us. We played good, but we've not really been tested against one of the best teams. I think the hardest game we had was definitely Crystal Palace away. We've not done well there for many years, but again, like, we've struggled at Old Trafford as well for many years. So it's going to be a tough game. Man United are probably going to try and sit and counter, but I'm not sure if Anthony's going to be ready to play 90 minutes against us, and Elanga and Rashford, I don't really fear them that much, if I'm honest. So it depends as well who United starts, but I do think it's going to be a good game. And it could be the fact that yeah, as Black and Blanco is saying that Sinchenko is in full training, being taped for the weekend. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I hear that. I hear this as well. Like Sofa score out. They've they've failed us. Shame score. But yeah, yeah, guys. The how many games today? 4 games. Before we end the stream, what is your thoughts on Bournemouth, Wolverhampton, Arsenal, Villa, City, Nottingham Forest, West Ham, Tottenham, and Liverpool, Newcastle? It's actually 5 games. Go with you first, Rich.
I was going to go to SofaScore and look at the fixtures, but can you tell me again? Because they'll probably tell
Okay,
me.
so yeah,
They'll tell me Manchester City.
Alpha score says Arsenal, Man United today.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Told me
So
Roman
Bournemouth
versus
are
City.
playing at home against Wolverhampton.
Wolves win.
Arsenal at home against Villa.
Arsenal win.
Man City against Nottingham Forest.
City win.
West Ham at home against Tottenham.
Tottenham win.
And Liverpool
Just, by the way.
at home against Newcastle.
Depends what Liverpool turns up. Let's go home win. Liverpool.
Yeah, they have to win this game, don't they? But yeah, what about UT? What's your
So
predictions?
first one, Bournemouth versus Wolves. I think I predicted a Bournemouth win, but now that was before Scott Parker got sacked. I'm going to say 2-1 Wolves.
Yeah.
For the next one, for Manchester City Forest, that's easy formality. Manchester City win. I'm gonna go. I went 3-0. I'm gonna say 4 right now with Alvarez and Haaland. Yeah, it's gonna be a jolt. That is. Arsenal Villa. I backed Arsenal to win. I said 3-0 initially, but I'm gonna go for a 2-1 now. I think it's gonna be closer. That was before and we found out about El Nene injured. So Liverpool Newcastle. I fully expect a Liverpool win again. I think they're going to start picking up these wins now. I think they're going to go on a run, Liverpool, in this one. And then there's one more, isn't there? Is there one more?
Yeah, West Ham, Tottenham.
The derby.
Yeah.
Of course, you know what I want. I'm going to want West Ham. Realistically, West Ham have been poor. Tottenham win 2-0.
Paqueta is actually on the bench, guys, which is interesting. He's already on the bench for West Ham.
St. Maximin's out, isn't he?
Yeah, hamstring.
Yeah, like, how long is he out for? Because we got them on Saturday.
Hamstrings on a week, so you should.
Yeah, it's gonna be 3 to 4 weeks probably minimum. And big up Talk as well in the building, guys. He's done the background and the overlay for me. He's helped me a lot, man. He's my brother. What about you, CM? What's your prediction for the games before we end?
So Bournemouth Wolves.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say a draw for that one. We got Arsenal Villa. I think an Arsenal win.
Yeah.
Man City, Nottingham Forest. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think it's gonna be pretty for Forest still away from home. It might get a light battering.
Yeah.
West Ham Tottenham. I'm gonna say a Tottenham win just about. And then Liverpool Newcastle. I'm actually gonna say a draw for that one. I feel like being a little controversial today.
Wow. Yeah. I wouldn't mind that. We want Liverpool to keep up in points, and I want a 0-0 in that game. If anything, I got Trent and Robertson in my FPL, so I wouldn't mind a 0-0 if I'm honest.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for me, I think Wolverhampton will beat Bournemouth comfortable. I don't rate Bournemouth, and I think Wolves are going to start kicking on now with the new signings. They're both starting again, Geddes and Nunez. I think Arsenal. I actually think this game suits Sam Lokonga more than Elneny, and I think the game against Man United suits Elneny more than Sambi because we are going to dominate the ball, and Sambi Lokonga is a way better passer on the ball than Elneny is, but Elneny is a better destroyer and more disciplined in the defense. I think Man City is gonna be maybe 5-0 against Nottingham Forest. Like Haaland might break the Haaland one of his season. He's gonna break the goal scoring record for most goals scored in one season. Like that guy he's special. He's special. I could see him
Same.
score like 35 goals in a season if he plays enough games. Because you can see him score more hat tricks. Like you wouldn't be surprised if he banged a hat trick today. West Ham Tottenham, I think it's gonna be a draw. I think West Ham always turn up against Tottenham. Like they like to turn up in that game. And I think Liverpool are gonna do a professional 2-0 victory against Newcastle. But I wouldn't mind a draw. But yeah, guys, it's been amazing. The chat, you guys been amazing as always. You always support me, and I appreciate all of you. I ran a poll on who got the best ownership and in the Premier League, and 67% voted on Man City, 0% voted on Liverpool, 33% voted on Newcastle, and 0% on Arsenal. Interesting. But yeah, guys.
Brentford have the best ownership, man.
Okay. You heard that from T.
Best ran club in the country, I think.
And by the way, yeah, I'm sorry, Mitrovic. I was wrong about you. You have shown me that you got quality and you are going to bang in the Premier League. I wouldn't be surprised if you get 10 to 12 goals. He looks way better than the last time they came up. So fair play to him. And he's already scored against Arsenal and Liverpool, so he can score against anyone, honestly. But yeah, let me start with you, Rich. Where can people find you, broski?
We're not looking at SofaScore anymore. I'll tell you that for free. Dear me. Yeah, you can find me Eagle Eyed Football on YouTube, and this is our Twitter handle at Eagle Eyed Football. So yeah, come find us.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming to my stream. You know, guys, it's not easy to book in celebrities. You know, they're always busy.
Stop.
I know that most of you probably already subscribe. I put his channel in the chat as well in case you haven't. Make sure you do. But yeah, I think Tariq can echo that.
Yeah, man. I've been trying to book Rich for a live stream in ages, man. Just want to get to know the guy's life a little bit more, but he's been too busy.
Speaking of life, we need to get one of those done.
It's true, bro. Paxton's been asking for it. I know, but he's trying to get you booked in, though. You know what I mean?
Me booked in. You've got too many haircut appointments. Don't talk about me.
Hey, you've had more trims than me this year. I'm telling you that.
Man said HD cuts.
Does it look like I've had more trims than you?
Yeah, it goes fast, man. You know what? You don't need to, man. You got a sharp hairline. You know what I'm saying? Your hairline's good. No receding, none of that. All right. Big up Rich, man. But nah, big up King, my bro. Thank you for inviting me on. And it's always a pleasure coming on here. I'm not wearing my shirt this week. So, you know, a lot more comfy settings. But yeah, you can find me over at Tariq Talks. You can also find me over on Pros Only Sports as well. For this upcoming weekends for the watch along. I think I got my brother joining me as well. I got confirmation earlier on the phone, and I've got confirmation. I'm confirmed on stream, so putting him under pressure right there in King.
Worries.
But yeah, you can Tariq Talks. You can find King on there if you want to see a little bit more of him. If this isn't enough of King, you can find him on there once a week doing an Arsenal show with myself and Wilf. Big up each and every one of you once again. Hit Tariq Talks all on the socials. You'll find me there. Follow me on Twitter if you want to be a part of the circle. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know what the name of mine is, but CM's got his name already. But yeah, when you can promote that when you move on to him.
Huh?
Yeah, guys. Make sure you subscribe to T's channel. I put the link in the description to his channel. And my brother, first appearance on my show. I appreciate it. Where can people find you, CM?
Come on, man. Big up yourself, King. Big up Rich, Tariq, everyone in the chat, man. First of many, bro. First of many. But you can find me, CM22ENT on Twitch, YouTube, all socials. I'm just out here trying to follow the footsteps of the celebrities out here.
Oh, big up CM, man. Thank you for joining, man.
I was going to promote Pan FC for you. Now, fun that.
Yeah, guys, honestly,
even now, telling you.
Me, Tariq, and CM, you know, if we one day can live up to Rich stated, where we got we do streams we you know, people from AFTV and stuff like that, you know, we would be so grateful. So if you guys make sure you subscribe to all the man them,
You're
this
so
it's not
silly.
been easy, and hit that like button. I've For months, for weeks, I've been trying to get rich on a stream. So to show
I
your
was on your show 2
appreciation,
weeks ago.
make sure you like the video. And there's gonna be a lot of streams from the Mandem even today. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, and you will
Yeah, I
continue
forgot.
to get quality content as well. But guys, we are leaving, but before we leave, obviously we have to run the agenda again.
Baby, where is the remote?
Remote?
Yes.
Arsenal.
What do you mean by Arsenal?
On top of the table.